Welcome back to The Middle Ground. I'm your host, Key, and we're reporting live from the Honey Queen Juice Bar. Okay, so rites of passage. When you think of rites of passage, you think of coming of age, and you think of this transition from childhood into adulthood. Oftentimes, we talk about rites of passage for men, but however, we never really talk about what that looks like, and if we actually have a rites of passage ceremony or a way of rites of passage or means of rites of passage in our community. So I'll pose a question to the gentleman. Is there any rites of passage going from boy into manhood in our community? What does it look like? Do we have one? Do we ever have one? And how does it affect the community?
I think the percentage of that is real low at this point because of what's taking place in our community with a lot of the black men not being in the home. Moving forward on that, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about each man taking the responsibility to conduct themselves, to educate themselves, to be able to hold themselves accountable to reach back, and whether it's their kid or young gentlemen in the neighborhood, being able to make that connection, to connect the dots, so that way when we pulling them up, whether it's our own personal family or son or cousin, nephew, or the person next door, we giving them some good wisdom or what they call good game now to be able to help elevate them to that level. Like this one gentleman that I'm working with right now, you know, like I said, he came to me, he said, man, he called me OG. He said, OG, man, thank you, man. I appreciate you for being there. Now watch this. Even though he says that to me, I put myself in a position as a person to be held accountable because he told me from his own mouth. I don't have nobody like to help show me these things, bro. He said, I'm a young man, but I'm trying to go into adulthood with the proper knowledge and wisdom so that I can do the things that I need to do. And so I can easily be like, man, I'm too busy. Or I take, like I said before, make the time and some responsibility to be able to say, you know what, let me be of some great help. Because all it takes is that one person that you help that you can make a difference, because we can't reach out to everybody all the time. Some people don't gravitate towards right away. Everything come in its proper timing when we can reach that one person. You know, so that's very important. That's my spin on that one.
I find it interesting, the thought of rites of passage, because you know you have bat mitzvahs for the Jewish community.
Yep.
A lot of
for the Mexican.
right. It's like here. Let me.
Quisiera for women.
What? Still rites of passage.
What's this transition, this carryover, and how to become a young adult into adulthood, into the rest of your life.
Yes.
We're taught certain things, but we're not taught the idea of, we're taught how to survive. We're giving, the ground rules. If you get them, you might have to learn them on your own, of just survival versus learning thrival. Learning how to be thriving in the world and how to transition from, I grew up, I was, single mother. My dad was around, but he wasn't around, so to speak. But there were certain things that she taught me. She had to give me the talk, the black man talk. She had to tell me things that be prepared for. Getting out there, start dating, the things to be prepared for, but also how to be a man. What it looks like. What does it look like to her generation,
right.
Not to whatever's going on now.
Right.
Know that what I'm giving you is just a gentleman's manual to liveliness for the rest of your life, versus, you act this way around her, you act this way around her, this group or whatever. You do this to everybody. If they're accepting, oh well. If they're not, oh well. It's like you take it and come and go. But I think the biggest issue is just our manhood is not necessarily graduated manhood, it's graduated survivalness. So we don't really get the true essence of what it means to be a man, to be in the world, grow as a man in the world, as black men.
Me being a product of the 80s, and once upon a time they said most black men wouldn't make it to see 18 years old or 21, barely. I remember
I
that.
thought it was 25.
25?
It was 21.
21? Yeah,
Damn.
so
They're
that,
saying that now.
they still saying that? That's, hey, that's deep, see? So,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
So just that state of mind of young black guys hearing that, they feel like they already defeated. But for people like us that's in this room right now, we have substance in us. We have some type of strength. But what they say, it take a village to raise a child. So we all play our position again. Everybody do what they supposed to do and help to nurture men and women. Be careful of who we bring around our kids.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Yes.
Because we don't want kids to be contaminated by seeing so many different things, transforming in their life, which could put a damper in their program spiritually, mentally, and physically. So yeah, that's pretty deep.
See, that's my thing when they say it takes a village to raise a child. I believe it takes a village to raise a human being. That's what support is. See, when people feel like they don't have support, they run wildly. They run around here with their head cut off because they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? So you was raised, big homie, by your mom. She embedded a lot of things up in you, jewels and things that she knew how to do because that's how she was taught, how she was raised. And that's a beautiful thing. But you also needed a man in your life.
But she also, that was part of it, she would
Always.
bring certain
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You had mentors.
coaches.
You had mentors.
You know,
what I'm saying? You had individuals of a father figure, of a man figure in your life to help guide you on the things that she was saying. They were just piggybacking from a man perspective on what your mama was giving you. See, a lot of dudes don't have that. You got a lot of boys trying to be men having children.
But also female children that are having children.
Exactly.
Trying to grow up themselves.
Exactly. So why would not help him in whatever aspect he need me to help him in? See, that's the thing when I say support. See, a lot of black men don't have support. A lot of black men don't have support. A lot of black women don't have support. Not just from their father, but who the man they choose to be with. You know what I'm saying? When a woman get to dating, the first thing they look for is love, somebody to make them feel safe, to make them feel valued, to make them feel worthy of their love. Because a woman gonna give you all of her 10 toes now. You feel what I'm saying? It's us black men who mess that up. You feel what I'm saying? Because instead of being honest, this is where the honest come in at. Black men don't want to be honest. First with themselves. So if I can't be honest with myself, I'm gonna be honest with her. If I don't love myself, I'm gonna love her. Same thing this man was saying. You have to first love self. You have to first know who you are as a person, as a man, as a black man. You feel what I'm saying? Because we got 3 strikes soon we come out, boom, against us.
I think one of the things that is not all, and I agree with all of what you guys are saying, but one of the main things I think that we don't do enough of is talking about racism, white supremacy, and how it affects the impressionable mind. Well, I was going to say also the impressionable minds as you are growing up, because it's like they say, it's that double consciousness, right? We have two experiences as we go through life in this country, or as we go through life in this world. We go through it as just a human being having regular life experiences, whatever, but then because of systemic racism, we go through life as being black. And it creates almost like this schizophrenic personality. It also affects how we deal with one another. When it comes to rites of passage, that is something that needs to be a part of that rites of passage. Is like, obviously we know that systemically black men have been taken out of the homes, and as a result that has it has affected manhood, it has affected the community. And the reason why I wanted to have this show is because I say that it starts with the man, and people, and like I said, I get pushback only from mainly Brother Samir, but I say that it starts with the man. And how I know that this is true is because there would not be such a concerted effort, millions and billions of dollars that they spend to basically just keep control over the black man. they would not go through the glimpse that they go through if black men collectively organizing and getting their minds right and getting on the same page if there was not power to that. So I maintain what I said, that it starts with men. Now obviously, do women have a part to play? Of course. But we are supposed to be supporting our men and knocking off this, toppling the system and replacing white supremacy with the system of justice. So when it comes to manhood, I think that is one thing that needs to be talked about, is the racial aspect, and also realizing that, like Brother Samir would say, this is where I do agree, that your eye should be on this system. Because if anybody is trying to stop the black man or trying to work against the black man, it would be this system that has been doing that from day one. Black women have always been by black men's side, from the plantation until now. Now obviously there are a lot of different things that has happened to try to separate us, and we have still managed to stay together, which is a beautiful thing. So I think that is the rites of passage that needs to be drilled home, is that brothers, because this is what I'm gonna tell my son. I have not given birth yet, but I will. So my husband's on his way. But that is what I'm going to tell my son, is that son and his father would be right there, you know what I mean? Because honestly, I want my son needs to be raised by his father. I don't believe that whole trying to stop the man, and that's another thing. Women who are doing that, ladies, you have to stop. Like, a woman cannot raise a man. Let these men have their sons, especially if you have a man in your life that wants to take care of his son, that wants to support you in that. Get out the damn way. You don't have nothing to do with that. Let these men take charge of these homes, especially if they want to, and let these men have their son.
Again, it's like we start talking about black rites of passage and black manhood and things like that. I'm an advocate of this. It has to be black men defining that. Because I've been in certain black men healing circle events, and they're moderated by women, and women design the talking points, and women are overwatching men what they talk about. How is that happening? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we're going to talk about...
Because we need more men initiating these spaces.
And even when they are being, that's my point. So it's socialization of, it's like, if a lot of times when black men do initiate these spaces, right? It's like, it's a thing.
Because the reason why that's not true is because if we would have a different reality in our community.
I didn't finish my point, though.
I wasn't finished my point, though.
You still remember something got rep each other.
Technically, I was still talking. But no, you can complete what you're saying. You can complete what you're saying.
Because, yeah, we're talking about a situation like with manhood, for example. It's, again, like, this is an unpopular conversation, right? A lot of times, like I said, again, it's very difficult to see a black man as being a victim of anything. It's very difficult for a black man to voice an opinion that he has that may not be popular or whatever. And I'm not saying I agree with these opinions, but the fact is that these are just things that happen. So even at the thing, like, you hear a lot of people that say they want black manhood, they want black manhood, they want black manhood, okay? Then that definition has to ultimately, you know what I'm saying, black men have to be part of that, what they consider black manhood to be. It can't be black manhood when it's only suitable for you. And not saying you, but as far as like black women in general, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, you know, you don't want to do this and this and this and this and that, but then it's like, okay, well, right now I need you to be that way for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, okay, but then that characteristic in general, you don't like that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, it's certain things that men have to do, form their own circles. They need to initiate their own spaces. They do need to develop their own concepts of what manhood is, because manhood does change over time, and men have different definitions of manhood depending on what their social construct is or whatever conditions that they're dealing with. However, I don't believe that can be a conversation that's spearheaded by women.
So then my question would be, because, and when we just wrap it up, and this is what my question would be for black men, then what are black men doing, or what are black men going to do in response to this? Because, so, Rites of Passage has been an amazing discussion, but as always, we want to leave off with some solutions. So what do you guys think the solutions are?
Period. So black men have to develop for themselves, that's what I said from the beginning, this conversation on rites of passage. Black men have to develop for their own selves what their concept of manhood is, what their concept of power is, what they see themselves as, and they have to define that for themselves. Black men are going to have to do that.
Yes.
It can't be black women, that's what I said.
Absolutely.
And it can't be a space moderated by black women.
Absolutely.
We have to be clear. So part of it being unshambled is this black man taking himself, his position. He has to take his position.
So how do we encourage black men to take their position?
By learning who their enemies are, learning their own struggle, researching themselves.
Who is the black man's enemy?
Systemic racist, white racist man, white racist woman.
You know that they already have the power. What do you do?
We got 10 basic stops, so we can start doing right now. It's black people, but black men. So we talking about black men, we can start right now.
Solution.
We can start implementing 10 basic stops. Stop gossiping about black men. You know what I'm saying? Stop gossiping. Right? Stop fighting one another.
Stop killing one another.
That was my next one.
Right.
Stop killing one another.
Stop hating one another.
Right. Stop name calling one another. Right? Stop selling drugs to one another and using drugs with one another. You understand what I'm saying?
That's not including marijuana.
You know, for some people it is. You know what I'm saying? Depending whatever your religion may be or whatever, or your cultural practices are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like we got 10 basic stops we can do. Stop throwing trash where black people live, work, and play.
Have some honor where you live. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Basic.
Yeah. Basic things we can start doing. Stop snitching on one another, right? And by snitching, let's be clear. And these are the things I'm giving by Nelly Fuller Jr. I'm going to give credit to him because he put these 10 basic stops together that black people can do to produce justice within themselves and empower themselves, right? You know what I'm saying? Stop snitching on one another. And what did he mean by that? Meaning, he said the definition of snitching is black people who are involved in constructive activities to make changes for black people. Don't go tell white people information that's going to harm those black people.